Want to take you now to Burlington, Vermont, where officials are discussing the arraignment of 48-year-old Jason Eaton, who is accused of shooting 3 college students of Palestinian descent over the weekend. Let's listen.
To go to school and work this morning knowing that the shooter was in custody. Mr. Eaton has now been arraigned and charged with triple attempted murder, charges that carry the potential for life sentences. This case remains the top priority of the Burlington Police Department. The investigation will continue, as will our collaboration with state and federal partners, to give our prosecutors the strongest case possible and to ensure that Mr. Eaton is held fully accountable for his actions. These law enforcement actions, while outstanding, will not erase the damage done by Saturday night's violence. It is incumbent on all of us to continue supporting the victims, their families, and their communities. We are honored to be joined at this press conference by Rich Price. Rich is a longtime Burlingtonian, and he was hosting the 3 young men during their visit. And he's also the uncle of Hisham Awartani, who was the most seriously injured of the 3 men. I believe we are also joined, although I have not had a chance to meet him directly, we've spoken by phone, but I believe Radi Tamimi is either here or on his way. He just flew in from California this morning, and he is the uncle of Kenan Abdul Hamid. Rich, and I hope you'll share this with Radi if I don't get a chance to directly, I am so sorry that this terrible event happened to your nephews here in Burlington. Thank you for your collaboration and coordination, Rich, throughout this ordeal, including the conversations that we had yesterday. And please know that the city is going to continue to do all that we can to support you and your loved ones during their recovery. We're going to get a chance to hear directly from Rich in a minute. I hope that Burlington's Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim communities see in today's prompt arrest the city's commitment to justice and to keeping all members of our community safe. I have been and will continue to be in communication with Muslim leaders about how Burlington can support their communities through this time of war and high international tension. I want to thank you, Chief Murad, and the hardworking and skilled Detective Bureau led by Lieutenant Mike Belvo for once again bringing a shooting investigation to a prompt resolution. Your quick and forceful actions over a holiday weekend on the heels of the push you've been making to solve the November 12th double homicide speaks to the commitment and the character of the Burlington Police Department. I'm grateful, Chief Murad, also for your leadership creating the Chittenden County Gun Violence Task Force more than 1 year ago, as we experienced a spike in gun violence this community has never experienced before. As you will hear in a moment when Chief Murad reviews the steps that led to the arrest of Mr. Eaton, that task force of local, state, and federal partners, including, critically, both the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, as well as the FBI, responded immediately to the shooting and played a critical role in the events leading to the arrest. This task force has become an invaluable part of our response to serious events at a time when we and so many other law enforcement agencies are understaffed. I'm also very grateful to State's Attorney Sarah George for working deep into the night last night to secure search warrants and bring forward charges. Thank you, Sarah, for your partnership and leadership. And finally, I am grateful that U.S. Attorney Nicholas Karras is here with us. Not only has the U.S. Attorney been extremely supportive throughout this event, the federal government has provided enormous technical resources and law enforcement capacity throughout. And I have received direct support from the White House and the Department of Homeland Security as well as we navigated this unprecedented event. In fact, one of the reasons that this press conference got started a little bit late is that I just had an extended phone call with President Biden. It was my honor to thank the President for his leadership and caring for our community and for the victims of this terrible crime. And it was also my honor to make clear to him the critical role that federal partners have played in securing this quick arrest. We are very fortunate to have dedicated public servants working in the federal government who are committed to holding shooters accountable for gun violence, despite the enormous barriers in the law and regulations that they face in trying to conduct that mission. And with that, I would like to ask Chief Murad to walk us all through the events since Saturday night that led us to now. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. And hello, everyone. My name is John Murad. I am the Chief of Police here in Burlington. And first of all, I want to acknowledge that 3 young men have been the victims of an unprovoked and terrible crime, and that their lives have been changed forever. One, in particular, faces a tremendous struggle and recovery with injuries that may be lifelong. They've been named elsewhere, but in my personal communications with the family and in detectives' communications with the victims, initially that was not something that they wanted, and so our communications thus far have not named them. But in their innocence and their suffering, and for that of their families and their community and our community, that can't go without mention. Next, I want to share details about this incident and the investigation as we currently know them. And all of this is preliminary information for an investigation that is ongoing. And this is only the beginning of this investigation for our detectives, for the Office of the State's Attorney, and for our federal partners as well. We allege that Jason J. Eaton, 48, committed 3 acts of attempted murder. On Saturday, November 25th of 2023, at approximately 18:26 hours, in front of an address at 69 North Prospect Street, we received calls that people had been shot and there had been gunfire. Officers arrived and found 2 men shot at that location, being tended to by people from the address who had brought out blankets to cover them. It was a very cold night. Both of these men were incapacitated by the gunfire, but they were talking and conscious. Another individual was located on a street to the east, also suffering from a gunshot wound. That individual was transported directly to the hospital by Burlington police officers. The first 2 young men were treated on the scene in an emergency response sense by our great partners at the Burlington Fire Department, and then were transported to the University of Vermont Medical Center. This began now an investigation. Unfortunately, we have become all too good at this in this city. We have gone from a city that routinely saw 2 gunfire incidents a year to a city that saw 26 last year, and I believe this was number 16 or 15 of this year. We responded. Our detectives were called out. Our identification unit, or the CSI kind of unit that we have, was called out, and so was the Chittenden County Gun Violence Task Force, which was a creation of Alex Schmidt at the ATF, of this police department, and of partners at Milton, at Colchester, at the South Burlington Police Department. All of these members responded to this incident, and we began the things that we do: evidence recovery, a canvas. A partner with Fish and Wildlife brought a canine. That canine did a track, but was most instrumental in finding additional evidence at the scene that was hidden and obscured in the grass. We recovered ballistics evidence at that scene. We recovered shell casings from a .380 semi-automatic, and that was Hornady ammunition with a red tip. Both of those things aren't entirely usual. They're not uncommon, but we see 9mm more often than we see .380s, and that was something of note. Obviously, this was only the beginning of an investigation. The young men were interviewed by detectives. They stated that the person had not made any comments to them and had merely approached them while they were walking down the street, essentially minding their own business. And they were speaking in a mixture of English and Arabic, which is their wont. 2 were wearing keffiyehs, and they had no knowledge of this individual, had not encountered him before. He stepped off a porch and produced a firearm and began discharging that firearm. We recovered rounds, ballistics consistent with 4 rounds, and all 3 of the individuals of the young men were struck. Our detectives worked that scene. We closed the scene once we had recovered all the evidence that we could, and we began the processes to follow this through in the new day. So on Sunday, we began new interviews with witnesses, with the victims who were available to us. One was not, owing to medical treatment. We began recanvassing. Patrol officers, which are the backbone of any police department, had done that kind of work at the initial response. Canvasses, knocking on doors, attempting to see whether there were cameras in the vicinity. Unfortunately, we did not have a lot of good camera coverage as we have in other incidents in our downtown. But today, on Sunday, detectives began to do that again, working with detectives out of that Chittenden County Gun Violence Task Force and with new partners too. So not only our normal long-term partners in the ATF, but new partners as well, folks with whom we have strong relationships but don't have occasion to work as often, but were brought in by the tremendous amount of concern and attention that this case garnered at the highest levels of government. I received personal calls from both senators, from our congresswoman. We knew the governor was paying attention to this case, and we knew that it was being addressed at the highest levels, as well as the mayor's phone call with the president just now indicates. The FBI brought in a number of people and were able to augment our resources as we pursued this case. At approximately just after 3:30, at approximately 15:38, during a door knock canvass at the location of the shooting, members of the ATF knocked on a door that had been closed the night before. Officers that the previous night had done a sweep of that entire location for both investigatory reasons and for security. So armed officers went through that apartment building, but did not have probable cause to go into every single apartment. So if people answered the doors, we spoke to them. And if they didn't, or if the apartment appeared closed, it is in fact a holiday weekend, we had no legal authority to go into units in that moment, especially since at least one witness had indicated that the shooter had in fact left the scene heading north. And so the notion of being able to just enter apartments was not available to us. We instead did this re-canvass door knock, and upon knocking on one door, the ATF agents were greeted by a man who stepped out of the door towards them with his palms up at waist height and stated something to the effect of, "I've been waiting for you." The ATF agents said, "Why is that?" And the gentleman said in some substance, "I would like a lawyer." He stepped into the hallway. They moved between him and the door and said, "Well, why is that?" He stated, I would like a lawyer. "Do you have any guns in there?" He stated that he had one. They asked if he had any others. He stated again, "I think I would like a lawyer." At that point, he was detained. He was taken to our police headquarters by a marked cruiser of the Burlington Police Department, and we swept that location only for security, which is a different level of sweep than a search, closed the location, secured it, and then obtained a search warrant, working closely with the state's attorney's office and with the U.S. attorney's office to make certain that that warrant was something that was going to be useful to both if it came to being something that we would use either with the state's attorney or with the U.S. attorney. We conducted investigations during that time as well, including finding out that the gentleman in custody, Mr. Eaton, had purchased a .380 recently. We discovered that we spoke to some people who knew him. The warrant was granted by a Vermont judge, and it was executed at approximately 21:53 hours. And at that point, during that search, we recovered a .380 firearm and Hornady red tip ammunition. ATF tests through the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, or NIBIN, have since connected that firearm to the casings that were recovered at the scene of the shooting. You know, cops often say that it's better to be lucky than good, but it's really even better to be both. And I believe that's what we have here. We certainly had a lot of incredibly good work, but to go to an address and find that individual in this way too is a little bit more than just good work. We have a lot more to do, however. Even with this arrest, we are still working. There is more investigation to be done, and that includes trying to determine motive. We still do not know as much as we want to know, but I would urge the public and you in the media to avoid making conclusions based on statements from people who know even less than we currently do. We are working hard to find out this information, and we are nowhere near the end of this investigation. But we are trying to determine what we have beyond the knowledge that, yes, this person, we have full probable cause to believe, committed this horrible, horrible crime. Our next step will be building that case to make certain that it is as strong as possible when so that we can deliver it to the state's attorney.
You've been listening to John Murad, the chief of police in Burlington, Vermont, discussing the details of the arrest, dramatic details, in fact, of the 48-year-old Jason Eaton, who was stands accused of triple murder in the shooting of 3 college students of Palestinian descent on Saturday. Burlington's mayor also talked to the assembled journalists, also spoke with President Biden just before the start of the news conference. The president thanked the president rather for the federal help assisting in this quick arrest. And of course, we got a good warning there from the chief of police near the end, who said, we don't know everything yet. We're working toward it. Don't listen to people who know much less than us.
Right.
Yeah.
And attempted murder for all 3 of them. We do know that Burlington's chief of police detailed his office's efforts in this case, including the ammunition that was found on the scene. He says the suspect approached the 3 20-year-old men and fired at them without provocation.
Yeah. Off of a porch. The guy walked off of a porch.
Right off of a porch. They were walking by, speaking in English and Arabic, just minding their own business, as the mayor had said. And then we learned the really surprising details that the suspect basically surrendered when he walked into the apartment, put his hands up, and he said, I want a lawyer. And he said, why? And that's when they got the probable cause. We're going to take a quick break.